Seoul, South Korea. A new wave of debate has erupted in the K-pop community as millions of fans raise concerns that HYBE Corporation may be deliberately limiting the career opportunities of Kim Taehyung, better known as V of BTS. The speculation, once whispered quietly in fan circles, has now spilled into global headlines under the question: is HYBE really holding back Taehyung? Over recent months, fans have pointed to what they describe as a pattern of neglect. While Taehyung has appeared at international fashion shows and brand events, his solo music and collaborative projects seem scarce compared to those of other BTS members. For ARMY, this imbalance has become impossible to ignore. "It feels like HYBE is prioritizing everything but his music," said one fan collective in Brazil. On social media, hashtags such as #ProtectTaehyung and #JusticeForV have resurfaced, trending globally with millions of mentions. Digital billboards in Seoul, New York, and Tokyo have amplified the message. Fans want fairness, not silence. "We are proud of his fashion success, but he is first and foremost an artist. We miss his voice," read one petition signed by more than 200,000 supporters. HYBE has so far declined to issue an official statement, but industry observers say the silence itself is fueling suspicion. "In corporate PR, silence is rarely neutral," explained Professor Lee Ji-hoon, a cultural studies expert at Yonsei University. "For fans, it feels like avoidance, and that turns speculation into outrage." The controversy arrives at a sensitive time for HYBE, as BTS members pursue individual projects during their military service periods. Analysts warn that even the perception of favoritism or neglect could fracture the group's image of unity, long considered central to its global success. If Taehyung is left behind, it risks undermining the brand of BTS as seven equals, said Han Seo-jun, an entertainment market analyst in Seoul. Financial implications are already being felt. HYBE's stock price has shown volatility in recent weeks, with investors citing concerns about the company's reputation and its reliance on BTS's loyal fanbase. "Investor confidence is tied directly to fan trust," said Park Min-kyu, a senior strategist at NH Investment and Securities. "And right now, trust is being tested." The case has also reignited debates about K-pop's management system, particularly the legacy of restrictive contracts often referred to as slave contracts. Though reforms have been introduced in recent years, critics argue that artists still face limits on autonomy. International media outlets, including CNN and The Guardian, have framed Taehyung's situation as part of a larger question about fairness and creative freedom in global entertainment. Meanwhile, ARMY's activism grows more coordinated. Multilingual hashtag campaigns, petitions, and organized protests outside HYBE headquarters have kept the controversy in the public eye. Cultural critics note that ARMY's response is no longer just about one idol, but about demanding structural change. "Fans are redefining the balance of power," said Dr. Amanda Liu, a media scholar at UCLA. "They're showing that silence is no longer a viable strategy for corporations." At the center of the storm, Taehyung himself remains quiet. His appearances continue to draw attention, yet his lack of new music projects only deepens the mystery. Each public outing is dissected by fans, searching for clues about whether he, too, is signaling dissatisfaction. For now, speculation remains the loudest voice in the room. As pressure mounts, the question grows sharper. Will HYBE address the concerns directly, or will its silence deepen suspicions of deliberate obstruction? For millions of fans worldwide, the demand is clear: justice for V. And until it is answered, the controversy shows no signs of fading. Observers in the fashion industry say Taehyung's rising profile on luxury runways is undeniable, but many agree it cannot replace the depth of his artistry as a musician. He is not just a face for brands. He is one of the most talented vocalists of his generation, said Marie Dubois, a Paris-based fashion critic. The silence around his music is deafening. In Japan, fan forums have become hotbeds of discussion, with supporters trading timelines of past promotions to highlight perceived imbalances. A Japanese media outlet even compiled side-by-side comparisons of solo rollouts, fueling debates about whether Taehyung has been consistently underserved. American fans have taken a different approach, framing the issue through the lens of labor rights. Several US-based fan groups have contacted cultural advocacy organizations, arguing that Taehyung's case exemplifies the systemic power imbalance in idol management. While these efforts are still grassroots, they signal a growing seriousness to the movement. European media have also drawn parallels to similar disputes in Western pop culture. Commentators on BBC Radio liken the controversy to disputes over record label control in the US, noting that the difference is scale. When ARMY mobilizes, it's not just a fandom, it's a global constituency. Inside South Korea, journalists are pressing cultural authorities to respond. Some lawmakers have suggested that if allegations of restrictive treatment prove accurate, regulatory reforms may be needed. Entertainment is now a national export, one official noted, and reputational damage abroad is also an economic issue at home. For HYBE, the risk extends beyond finances. Its image as a forward-thinking global label, one that differentiated itself from older, more controlling agencies, is under attack. Critics argue that if the company cannot maintain fairness for its most popular member, its claim to be progressive is hollow. Industry insiders whisper about internal debates within HYBE. Some suggest resource allocation across multiple artists has created tensions, with executives forced to prioritize certain projects. Others argue the company is overwhelmed by its own expansion, juggling too many acts while trying to sustain BTS's legacy. Regardless of the cause, fans are unwilling to accept silence as an answer. Organized protest trucks have appeared outside HYBE's headquarters in Seoul, flashing digital messages demanding justice for Taehyung. The tactic, once rare, has become a common tool for fans across K-pop to hold agencies accountable. Meanwhile, brand partners are monitoring the situation closely. While Taehyung remains a valuable ambassador for luxury houses, companies fear becoming embroiled in controversy. Marketing experts note that fashion brands thrive on aspirational image, but association with mistreatment could tarnish their credibility. Financial analysts predict that if the dispute escalates, HYBE could see long-term erosion of investor trust. With BTS as its core revenue driver, any perception of internal unfairness risks destabilizing future growth. Investors want stability, said analyst Park Min-kyu. Right now, all they see is chaos. Fans themselves express a mixture of loyalty and exhaustion. Many say they will continue to support Taehyung regardless of circumstances, but they resent having to fight for fairness. "We shouldn't have to beg for his talent to be recognized," said one fan in Mexico City. "He's already proven himself 100 times." Psychologists warn of the emotional toll this kind of controversy can take on artists. When an individual feels silenced despite having global support, it can create a sense of isolation, said Dr. Park Min-seo, a Seoul-based clinical psychologist. Public adoration does not erase private frustration. The silence from HYBE is also being studied as a communications case. PR experts argue that avoiding engagement may have been intended to contain the story, but it has instead amplified it. In the digital age, silence is never neutral, explained UK media strategist Jonathan Blake. It becomes part of the narrative, and often the most damning part. International ARMY communities continue to coordinate across time zones. Volunteers translate petitions into dozens of languages, while others manage streaming campaigns to keep Taehyung's past work visible on global charts. Analysts describe this as unprecedented fan-driven organization, rivaling political movements in its scale and precision. Some commentators suggest that the controversy may eventually push Taehyung toward greater independence. Speculation has grown about the possibility of him pursuing more creative control or even branching into self-directed projects.